the last 9 months, I've been making my dream game. A first-person shooter, inspired by the science fiction I grew up with. For months, Exodus has existed as a collection of mechanics, movement, weapons, enemies, pieces of a game. But now, those pieces have come together. For the first time, it's something you can actually play. Finally, I can step back from explaining what I'm making and just show it to you. So it's been a few months since my last video. At the end of my last update, I said I put my house up for sale to fund this project. And well, my house has been sold. So life was a bit too busy to make a video. But I've moved, and I'm all settled in, and I've got my fuck you money. So it's time to get to work. Since I had the movement down and some weapons to play with, it was time to replace these static enemies with some actual AI. And this has been the main focus of my work since the last video. This is still very foundational work for now, so we don't have advanced emotional AI like Halo just yet, but we will. Right now, they're focused entirely on finding and fighting the player. Later on, I want them to have things like morale, squad behaviors, and reactions to losing allies. Initially, they were using the Paragon Wraith character models, but this really didn't feel like the game I was trying to make. I have it very specifically written in my game design document that humans are boring to shoot at, and I stand by this. They are. Humans don't have enough variety to distinguish enemy types and behavior. The player should be able to walk into a room and instantly identify every enemy by shape and color. Without this, it would be ambiguous as to who you should target first. So I needed to swap out the Wraith for some different placeholders. Assets that could fit distinct roles and be easily identifiable in combat. I looked at the Paragon minions and thought, yeah, this'll do for my aliens. With some modifications to the skeleton, the shaders and animations, I got a little guy and a big guy working for my alien faction. For a long time I've been referring to these enemy types as grunts and elites, but that feels a little derivative. So from now on we'll be calling the little guy a pawn and the big guy a knight. The Wraiths still exist in the game, but they'll fill the role of the Marines that follow you around and assist you in combat. They're still pretty OP right now, so they might steal your kills. The AI can navigate the world, usually following a patrol path until they're alerted to an enemy. This could be through sight or by sound. They're pretty dumb right now. No real sense of self-preservation, but they're good enough to test the bones of the game. And more importantly, this marks the first point where Exodus isn't just a demo of mechanics, but something that is genuinely playable, which I think is a big milestone. The HUD has seen a major overhaul this update. Shout out to Art Hollow from the Inverted Games Discord, who helped find a style for the HUD. I wanted to give it an analog retro look, with this scan line effect across it. My reasoning for this is that militaries rarely make their tech look advanced. It usually takes on a very pragmatic, utilitarian vibe. This would definitely be the case for an interstellar military, unless of course that form is part of the function, like a stealth jet. Then they become very advanced looking. This is the design philosophy I'll be taking with all of the human tech. You're going to see more buttons, switches, knobs, and dials rather than touchscreens and holograms in the human technology in this game. In the bottom left, there's a motion tracker for increased situational awareness. In the top left, we have a grenade counter for each of your grenades. Distinct grenade icons pending. There's 3 counters here, but I only have 2 grenade types so far, which, by the way, there's a sticky plasma grenade now. Let me know in the comments what sort of grenades you'd like to see. At the top, there's a shield bar with a red health bar revealed underneath. And finally, at the top right, there's the weapon panel, which displays the weapons you have and their ammo. I also created a highlight effect for objects that you can grab with kinesis. There used to be a small orange dot that would appear in the center of the crosshair to indicate that you could grab something, which is still there now, but it was too easy to miss, and it didn't tell you enough about what you were actually about to pull in. It should be easier to pull in the right thing at a glance now. I created a system that would take pictures of each weapon and turn them into an icon for the HUD. That needs more elaborate. Actually, you know what? It's just, who gives a shit? No one cares. I've made changes to the sprint mechanic in this update that I think will please old school Halo fans. In the last update, sprint functioned in a similar way to how it worked in Halo 5. It was unlimited, but your shields wouldn't recharge while it was active. The difference was that you could still shoot while sprinting. You can watch my first video for more details on my thought process behind that. This was a decent system. It punished overly aggressive behavior by making your defenses erode the longer you pushed. And I have these little shield orbs that dropped from the knights that would recharge your shields, which allowed you to keep pushing if you could get one, which sort of reminded me of how you could get pickups from chainsawing enemies in the new Dune games. I let this system sit in the game for a few weeks. I wanted to really get a feel for how it fit in with the other mechanics, and whether or not it could justify its inclusion. Generally speaking, it worked. It was just one thing that kept nagging at me, and people have brought it up in the comments of my videos as well. There still wasn't much of a reason not to sprint all the time. The only time I wasn't holding down the shift key was when I was aiming down the scope of a prototype rifle, or to take cover after my shields had been popped. Then one day it suddenly occurred to me, what if I have this all backwards? I thought the answer to sprint was to limit shield recharges, but what if I used the shield to limit sprint instead? So I made a few small tweaks to the sprint and shield code. And now what I have is this. Sprint is always on by default. You don't need a button to activate it. It turns off automatically when you aim down a scope though. If your shields get popped, sprint gets disabled. Your shields will recharge after a few seconds, so long as you don't take any more hits. But the whole time your shields are down, you are vulnerable. I still have those shield orbs dropping from the knights for instant recovery, and these have been changed from a 50-50 chance of dropping on death to only dropping when the knight is killed by massive damage from something like a barrel or a grenade, or if you throw an axe at them. This was an important change. No mechanic should ever be triggered by a random chance, because the player can't predict that. There needs to be a clear rule behind the orb drops. So I decided that they will only drop as a result of massive damage to a knight. I'd like to thank everyone who's supported my Patreon so far. Your support has helped me spend more time working on Exodus, and it's genuinely appreciated. For those in the highest tier, I've created a Hall of Fame where your names are displayed in the game for all to see. Tier 2 and 3 supporters are also listed in the game's credits. If you'd like to support the project and gain access to daily development builds, there'll be a link in the description. If you've made it this far, then you're probably as invested in this project as I am. One area where Exodus is still missing a clear identity is in its visual design. Right now, I'm building systems, mechanics, and gameplay. Eventually, those systems need a world that feels uniquely its own. So I'm looking for a concept artist. Specifically, someone who can help me develop a visual language for the project. Human and alien character designs, environments, architecture, vehicles, and all the other pieces that make a universe feel real. If that sounds like something you'd be interested in, send me a message on Discord with your portfolio and your rates. I'd love to see your work and talk about whether we'd be a good fit. As for what's next, this video hasn't covered everything I've been working on. I'm also putting together a separate video all about how I'm bending Unreal Engine's hideous renderer to my will. So stay tuned for that, and thank you for watching.